Good afternoon, Arizona. How is everyone today? My name is Janessa, and we're going to wait another minute or so for more attendees to join before starting the presentation. How's everyone doing in Arizona? I heard spring training just started. Anyone joining this year? I do remember last year I went with my family for the first time. It was such a fun experience. Not sure if some of you are baseball fans. We're in the Bay Area and we love the Giants. And let me know in the Q&A box that's open if you have a baseball team you're cheering for, or if you just got your Uber Eats, feel free to share what you ordered for lunch today. I know for the office, we're in California, so we'll have lunch in about an hour. We're going to be having burgers and I think like a salad. Typically, we do like this like burger station with buns and meats and then like all the little condiments. Okay, cool. We have a lot of people joining today. Thank you so much for attending. And just wanted to do some housekeeping before we started. And hopefully you were able to use your Uber Eats to enjoy lunch while watching this. If you didn't get to use the code, it should be still good to use until the end of today. And also after this presentation, I'll be following up with an email to provide the HRCI and TRUM credits. And then if you have any questions today, feel free to ask them in the Q&A box. I'm going to try my best to answer the questions, probably at the end of the presentation. And then also I can get back to you with more of an in-depth answer in the follow-up with the HRCI and TRUM credits. And also we're going to be sending a recording of the presentation you can share with your colleagues. And I'm also going to attach the slides to the follow-up email. So let's get started. Today, we're going to talk about Arizona nonprofits and unemployment. And just before I get started, I wanted to do a quick introduction of myself. My name is Janessa Ponco, and I'm the Membership Development Representative here at 501c Services. I've been in sales since 2016. I was selling vendor booth space at a wedding fair for about 3 years in the Bay Area. I've set up meetings for tech startups during the pandemic, and then I've been scheduling appointments with nonprofits here at 501 since July 2023. And then the picture of the people that are bowling is of me and some of our sales and marketing team members. My manager, Heidi Posada, is in the middle. You may work with her in the future. Evan is on the right, and he creates our marketing content and web development. He's also on here to help me with the webinar as well. And I'm really excited to be part of a company that's helping nonprofits save time and money that can go towards furthering their mission. We're located in San Jose, California, so we're in the heart of the Silicon Valley. We're dedicated to helping nonprofits reduce unemployment expenses across the nation. And thank you again for joining to learn more about cost-effective strategies and managing unemployment in your state. So we're going to provide a broad overview on how unemployment insurance works, alternatives for 501c3 nonprofits when it comes to unemployment, how reimbursing works. We're also going to use some real life examples of nonprofits we've helped with our cost analysis, and then finally provide more information on our company 501c services and how many of our Arizona nonprofits have benefited from our services. First of all, just wanted to start off with a little history to put unemployment in perspective. Unemployment started in the US in the 1930s following the Great Depression and New Deal, where the federal government wanted to create a safety net for workers who lost their jobs through no fault of their own. From 1930 to 1972, 501c organizations didn't pay into unemployment benefits for separate employees. Although this saved them money from paying these taxes, employees that were laid off couldn't reap the benefits of having that safety net that for-profit companies provided. Fast forward to 1972, the federal government changed the law under the Social Security Act to where nonprofits must pay into unemployment, but were provided different options in how they pay so that the tax wouldn't be seen as an unnecessary expense for them. So unemployment is overseen on the federal level. However, each state gets to manage their own programs, however they choose. So throughout the US, you can see different taxable wage bases, tax rates, benefit amounts. But today we're just going to cover information here in Arizona. When it comes to management, unemployment rates can be adjusted annually and are adjusted by experience. So for instance, if you have a year or two of bad claims, your tax rate will increase. Most states, including Arizona, run as a risk pool. So what you put in does not necessarily equate to what you'll get out. We're seeing a lot of nonprofits are putting more money into that state pool than what they're actually getting out of it. And these total tax liabilities by employers are often greater than the claims paid, with reserves used in times of recession. And then to calculate the tax liability, you multiply the taxable wage base by your employer tax rate. My apologies, my throat's a little dry. But we're going to do a quiz. And so for the quiz, take a guess on what a single claim can cost in Arizona. So I'm seeing 4,000. We got 3,000 on there. Just as a hint, the total cost is looking at the weekly benefit maximum times the maximum number of weeks someone can claim. And just to give you that hint of the maximum number of weeks, it is 24 weeks for Arizona. We have 8,000, 6,200, 3,300. Okay, one more guess I got was 10,000. So the maximum amount a single person can claim in unemployment in Arizona can cost $7,680. Just as a caveat, this is what an employer is charged for employee benefits by the state. And then those extended benefits you saw in the recession and extra COVID payments, they were covered by the federal government. The maximum weekly benefit amount in Arizona is $320. And when we multiply that number by 24, the maximum number of benefit weeks, is how we get that $7,680 for the maximum of what a single person can claim on unemployment. The federal government sets the wage base at a minimum of $7,000, and there's no maximum. In 2025, Arizona's taxable wage base is set at $8,000, which means for the first $8,000 an employee earns, your organization is taxed on that amount. And then the minimum tax rate is at 0.04%. The maximum tax rate is at 9.72%. And those are both set by the state. The last thing I want to note is the improper rate from the last slide, which is 6.92%. And this overpayment equates to over $46 million in overpayments to former employees who are collecting unemployment over the past 3 years. This is information we get from the Department of Labor. And you can see Arizona is one of the many states that's less than 10%. This is important to know, as we really encourage you to look over your claims. Make sure that you're not overpaying for anybody's claims. Here at 501, we help organizations monitor this. But if you are managing on your own, you want to make sure you're properly charged for a former employee's weekly benefit amount. So there are 3 different alternatives for unemployment. One is that you pay the state tax that we mentioned earlier with a tax rate that's set by the state and taxable wages. Another option is that you can self-insure, reimburse for your unemployment, where you just pay dollar per dollar for your unemployment claims. So you're basically only paying for the benefits issued. And then the last option is kind of a hybrid of both, where you buy insurance that offers the savings of reimbursing while also providing that safety net. Just let you know, reimbursing is not for everyone. The qualifications we look at for considering reimbursing is that an organization must be a 501(c)(3) nonprofit. It excludes religious institutions. We recommend a gross annual payroll of $1 million or more because typically if your payroll is under $1 million, especially significantly less, what you're paying into the state tax pool is probably pretty minimal and you might not see much savings by opting out. However, there might be some scenarios where you could see potential savings. So we'd be happy to look at your numbers, even if you're just slightly less than $1 million. And then we also look at a positive audit of the past 3 years. So that means in order for reimbursing to benefit you, we try to evaluate if what you paid each year in taxes exceeds what you pay in claims. We also want to make sure that there isn't any major disruption in funding for the next 24 months. So we do recommend to stay with SUI if you know you might have anything from layoffs, reduction in workforce, losing funds, or closing programs where your tax rates may go up with experience. And then you'll probably want to wait when those claims decrease. So what it means to reimburse is that your tax rate turns to 0%, and the state will bill you only for the unemployment claims you receive over the quarter. It's a great way for nonprofits to save money and be a better steward of donor dollars. The process is seamless for separate employees. No matter how your employees separated, they'll still go through the same process for EDD. The state will determine their benefit amount based on their base period pay. The only change is how that quarterly bill is calculated. Instead of the state unemployment insurance tax, you're now only responsible for charges your organization incurs. We work with 1,500 nonprofits. Several of them are in Arizona. So you're probably wondering what motivates them to reimburse. In most cases, reimbursing saves money. On average, savings can be anywhere from 20 to 40% compared to paying SUI. And this is really the driver for most organizations to switch. Reimbursing eliminates any concern of changes in the state tax, such as those tax hikes you can't control. And then you become a better steward of donor dollars as you just pay for your actual claims than into that state pool. Because unemployment is managed by the federal government big picture, reimbursing is allowed in all 50 states, best with employers with over $1 million in payroll and at least 15 or more full-time employees. If you're on the borderline, we can certainly talk, as sometimes there are circumstances where we can consider reimbursing for your organization. And if you're smaller and reimbursing already, we can still consider you for our services and how we can help you reduce your risk. There are a couple of different strategies for reimbursing. The first is to manage your own program, and this can be a little risky with the highs and lows of unemployment. You really want to make sure that you have budget for these claims and that your team is diligent with managing, auditing, protesting, and paying claims to reduce risk and prevent overpaying. And the other option is to outsource, like using 501(c) services to help with the administrative work and managing the challenges that can come with unemployment claims. And we also have a trust where you can put money aside. And the third option is to purchase insurance. At 501, we do offer insurance programs. They're a little bit more expensive than the trust, and they offer different levels of protection. So I do want to talk about how SUI is calculated. Like I mentioned earlier, I'll show some real cost assessments we've done in the past. The taxable wage base is customized by each state. So in Arizona, that taxable wage base is at $8,000. All employers in the state pay the same taxable wage base. It represents the first $8,000 of each employee's annual pay. There's no maximum and can increase or decrease by any amount each year. The tax rate is set annually by the state and is based on experience. To calculate the contribution amount, you multiply the taxable wage base by the tax rate. So for Arizona, it's $8,000 times that range of 0.04 to 9.72%. This amount means that if each employee makes over $8,000, a company is paying in between 3.2 to $777.6 per employee in unemployment. For our first example of a human services nonprofit we worked with, the taxable payroll was just shy of $1 million, tax rate 4.7%, estimated claims about $200 a year. In this case, we looked at a 3-year average of claims. So they were paying over $45,000 a year. Think of what you can do with an additional $45,000. This next example, the taxable payroll is around $700,000. Tax rate is at 3.38%. Estimated annual claims about $5,900. Estimated unemployment taxes were around $24,000. So they overpaid about $18,000. Here is a sample of an Arizona tax rate notice that gives us some of the information we need to do a free cost analysis for your organization. So if you see on the top highlighted portion in the right, that's your tax rate. And in this example, that tax rate is at 2.72%. And then the first row of boxes includes the reserve balance that represents the organization's overpayment in a lifetime. So at the start of the recent year in this example, it was $88,000. And in this example, the organization paid over $27,000 in taxes and paid over $15,000 in claims. So they overpaid about $12,000 in the year. And also their reserve balance went from that $88,000 to about $101,000 by the end of the year. And then the bottom row of boxes includes the taxable payroll from the past 3 years. Also, there is no need to understand each line. We'd be happy to look over your form and go over these numbers with you. A little bit more about our company. We were founded in 1982 by a former UCP executive, John Hugstad. He was looking for ways to save money for his organization, so he came up with the idea of starting a trust. He started the first kind of grantor trust, the Joint Unemployment Compensation Trust, that eventually became 501c Services, 501c Agencies Trust. We started at about 25 members here in San Jose and have now grown to helping over 3,000 nonprofits in various ways. In 2016, John sold the company back to his employees. So we're now 100% employee owned. From our receptionist to the CEO, every member is committed to our company and serving our members. And our services are valued tremendously by our members, with our company having over a 98% retention rate. These are a couple of testimonials our members have shared, and you can also go back to these later, as I'll send the slides after the presentation in the follow-up email. This is a clip from our 40th anniversary celebration a few years ago that includes testimonials from Anika Lund and Mike Hoffman from Start Early, Mary Sue and Michael Eady from CISC, Sandy Leota and Chris Marshall of Baltimore Center Stage, and Phyllis Austin and Jason Penniger from Boys and Girls Clubs of America.
What makes me passionate about working for a non-for-profit organization is because I knew I always wanted to work for a mission-driven organization.
Our mission is to work with immigrant communities so that they can achieve the American dream.
501 helps focus our service to the community by giving us more time.
501 helps us focus on serving our communities by providing services directly to our HR professionals.
The biggest benefit for working with 501 is really the transparency and ability to forecast our costs when it comes to our unemployment benefits.
They also keep our cash flow steady through claims that are sound and take a lot of the admin burden off of us so we can just stay on autopilot.
We're very grateful for all the support you provided over the last 4 decades, and we wish you continued success in the future.
Congratulations, 501, on your 40th anniversary. It's been a pleasure serving with you for the last 24 years.
And like I said earlier, we work with several Arizona nonprofits. Here's a quick snapshot of members across the nation. And like you heard them say in the video you just watched, our members appreciate how we save them time and relieve administrative burdens. The first way we help nonprofits is through claims management. Our team will help you audit and protest claims. We offer unlimited access to hearing reps. Our team also has an average of an 80% win protest rate. You'll have a dedicated claims manager once you become a member of the trust, and all of your claims will go through an online portal where you'll be notified that a claim has been filed. You can go into the portal and respond to the questions. And if in any case you ever go on PTO and forget to delegate these unemployment tasks, it shouldn't be a problem. For when a claim isn't responded to in several days, it gets escalated and handled. A big part of our claims management is that our team doesn't want to see your organization overpay or get hit by those Arizona error rates. So we can audit those charges for you or prevent you from paying for a claim when someone gets terminated. And then we want to make sure that you're managing these claims and have enough support to do so. Our HR services include 3 components. We offer access to unlimited HR consultations. We're a small, dedicated team that will answer any of your HR-related questions. So if you ever have an ongoing issue, you can develop rapport with a person who can support you and manage any of your HR questions. Our HR services have trainings throughout the year that are HRCI and SHRM certified, and there's also an online knowledge library with our HR services. And then with the $320 maximum weekly benefits here in Arizona, our goal is to help you keep that cost as low as possible. If you're ever laying someone off, our reemployment tool offers packages such as online coaching, interview techniques, and resume writing. It's never fun to let someone go, but at least you can give them the safety net and resources to help them secure a new job faster, which in return can help your organization save more money. And then we have the protection part. That's the insurance part of our program. Most of our members take our stop loss protection, which helps our members during catastrophic claims. Other than the catastrophic claims, for managing the highs and lows of unemployment, we have the trust account. This is a reserve account held in the trust owned by our organization where we can help you manage those possible unexpected number of claims. So I hope this sparked your interest, and maybe some of you may want to manage your unemployment through us as a reimbursing employer. If you wanted to look into potential savings, what I would need from you is your 941s or your estimated payroll from 2023 to 2024 as a reimburser. And if you're paying SUI, ideally, we would like to look at your last 3 years of tax rate notices. If you're only able to locate the 2025 tax rate notice, no worries. We can also work with that as well. So I don't see any questions currently in the chat box, and I'll stay on for another minute or so. If someone is thinking of a question and wants to put it in the chat box, I'll do my best to answer it. Or if you think of something after I log off, I'd be happy to answer it if you wanted to add it into the follow-up email. So I'll be sending that email in about a couple of hours, and Zoom will also send a recording of this presentation separately. So for the follow-up email, you'll get the credits, the slides of this presentation, and then I'll also include like an assessment form if any of you are interested in a free cost analysis. And thank you again for everyone who's joining today. Let me know if you have any questions. This is my contact information, my email, and my direct number. Also at the bottom, we do have in-person meetings. I know it's in two to 3 days. It is last minute. Oh, so we do have a question. Will we get a recording of what was covered? You will get a recording of what was covered. So that'll be sent through Zoom separately in a couple of hours. And I will send the slides through the follow-up email. So be on the lookout for both information being sent to you. And so if anyone is interested who's in the Phoenix or the Tucson area, my manager is just arrived in Arizona. She's able to meet up in person. She is currently in the Phoenix area mainly, but she can also drive down to Tucson that Friday. If none of those dates work, also feel free to email me if you do want to meet in person. So I do have another question. Are you able to work with organizations with staff in other states? Yes, we do work with organizations that do have employees in other states. And I can also, with this question that the person asked, we'll have like an article that talks about like out of state rules that I can send to this person directly. So yes, we do work with people in multiple states, and then we would just look at the numbers for each employee in each state, and then we would create that cost analysis. And Heidi, if you schedule a meeting with her, she can go over like any out of state information as well. Anyone else have other questions? Okay, great. So for these questions, I'm also gonna have more of a detailed answer. I'm gonna speak with Heidi as well, so we can give you more information. And thank you so much, everybody. It was a pleasure speaking with everyone. And let me know if you want an in-person meeting. I know it's last minute, or I can also schedule a Teams meeting if the 6 or 7 doesn't work for you guys. Thank you so much and take care.